hindi ko alam kung ano yung term niya, sir, but meron siyang mga people who go directly on the ground, sir.
Pero kinonfirm niya sa'yo na kinuha niya yung 500 million pesos.
500 million, sir?
Yes, in four different tranches.
For the different funds, sir. It is of my assumption, sir, na siya po yung napagbigyan nung funds, sir.
In 4 different tranches.
4 different tranches,
Okay.
sir.
Nasabi niyo ba sa kanya na tinanong niyo ba sa kanya na yung mga ibang acknowledgement receipts ay questionable yung mga apelido?
Sir, at that time po, sir, I was not able to see the acknowledgement receipt, sir, because in the AOM, sir, the AOM indicated that we submit the DEPs or the documentary evidence of payment, sir. So I was not able to see it, sir. So nung binigay po sa akin ni Miss Gina Acosta yung mga DEP, sir, it was already in a sealed box, sir, and then we submitted that together with our reply to COA.
Paano niya raw dinistribute yung mga pera? No, kasi 500 million to, thousands and thousands of acknowledgement receipts. Paano niya ikunento sa inyo na dinistribute niya itong mga pera? Sino itong mga informants niya? Kasi kayo gumawa ng AOM, anong reply to the AOM.
Sir.
So, I would assume na tinanong niyo yung methodology ng pagdidistribute niya.
Sir, based on my recollection lang, sir, he mentioned na, yun nga, sir, meron siyang mga people, sir, who worked on the ground. That is only the extent of the information I can recall, sir, when I had a consultation with Colonel Achica.
Yung pagpili ng informants, natanong niyo ba kung paano? At
So,
yung relevance ng informants dito sa inyong confidential operation?
Sir, I did not ask anymore, sir, because it was not the subject of the AOM, sir. So I was not able to check on him on that matter, sir.
Pero yung DEP, yung documentary evidence of payment, subject yan ng AOM, tama?
For submission, sir, we were required to submit the documentary evidence of
But
payment, sir.
did you, tinanong niyo ba sa kanya kung paano niya nakukuha itong DEPs?
Sir, I did not ask anymore, sir. I just requested for the copies for the DEPs, sir, so that I can already submit it, sir, doon sa COA as an attachment to the AOM reply.
Paano kung yung DEPs peke? Paano kung yung kanyang narration sa iyo ay hindi totoo? Paano
Sir,
kung ganun ang situation?
Sir, at the time, sir, because he was designated as our security officer, sir, I
Designated by
the head of office, sir,
which is the Vice
SARA
President.
DUTERTE, sir. So it is of my, sa tingin ko po, sir, na maayos naman po yung pagkakatrabaho ni Colonel Achica doon sa pag-dispense niya ng duty as the security officer.
Last question, Mr. Presiding Officer. Bakit parang nagkukuha ko buo yung tiwala ninyo sa kanya at kinuha niyo lahat ng information at yun ang ginamit niyo sa inyong reply to the COA? Nakita ko bakit buo yung tiwala, hindi kayo nag-probe na mga additional questions considering na kayo ang nag-justify nito sa COA at kayo pumirma, no, dito sa COA. So bakit parang kung ano sinabi niya, yun na lang ang linagay niyo sa inyong reply?
Well, first, sir, is because he's the security officer, sir. So I believe, sir, na siya yung the best person that can provide the information. And then, second, sir, as the security officer, sir, he was designated by our head of agency, which I believe also gave the trust and confidence to him to implement the activity. So, kung ano po yung na-mention ni Colonel Achica sa akin during the time when I checked or asked for questions, yun po yung pinagbasihan ko for the drafting of the reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Senator Judge Ontiveros is recognized for her interjections. You have 2 minutes, ma'am. You may proceed when you're ready.
Salamat po, Mr. Presiding Officer. Sir Tonyo, tama po ba na lahat ng ginagawa ng OVP tungkol sa confidential funds, so request, amounts, justifications, use at pagsagot sa mga puna ng COA, tama po ba na lahat ng ito ay dinesisyonan at inaprubahan ni VP Duterte?
Based on the mga replies, ma'am, yes, I was able to provide a copy to the head of agency, ma'am. Again, being the head of agency, ma'am, I provided her with the information.
At base doon, dinesisyonan at inaprubahan niya ang lahat ng ito?
Yes, and from that time, ma'am, we signed off on the document for submission to the Commission on Audit.
With the last touch or final sign-off being that of VP Duterte?
Yes, ma'am, being the head of agency, ma'am, we sought her approval on it, ma'am.
At sang-ayon po ba kayo na bilang yung ganong head of agency na si VP Duterte ang responsable at pinaka-responsable sa lahat ng iyan?
Well, being the head of agency, ma'am, I believe that kailangan niyang malaman lahat ng mga nangyayari, and I know, ma'am, na si Ma'am Inday really wants to know details, no, especially on implementation of the different activities that we do in the office. So it is really meron talagang involvement in terms of ensuring that things are properly implemented within the office.
And based on that knowing, batay sa kaalamang iyon, siya ang pinaka-responsable sa kabuang iyan.
Based on that, ma'am, being the head of agency, ma'am, I would say so, ma'am.
Alright. Gano'ng katagal nyo na po kilala si VP Duterte?
Siguro, ma'am, more than 10 years, ma'am. I started working together with her, ma'am, in 2008.
At saan po so almost 20 years pala. So at saan po at paano nyo siya nakilala?
Nakilala ko po siya, ma'am, bilang Vice Mayor sa Davao City, ma'am. And then at the time, ma'am, when they were looking for several staff members for the office of the Vice Mayor, I submitted an application, ma'am.
At magkakilala rin po ba kayo ni Ms. Gina Acosta kahit bago po kayo nakipagtrabaho sa isa't isa sa OVP?
I knew of Miss Gina Acosta, ma'am, during my employment, ma'am, with Sangguniang Panlungsod during the time ni Ma'am Inday as the Vice President, ma'am, and Vice Mayor as the Vice Mayor.
So prior sa OVP, magkakilala at magkatrabaho na po kayo?
Kilala ko po si Miss Gina, nakikita ko po siya sa Sangguniang Panlungsod.
And then, what about po si Colonel La Chica? Magkakilala na rin po ba kayo at magkatrabaho bago kayo magkatrabaho sa OVP?
I first knew of Colonel La Chica, ma'am, when I was already with the Office of the Vice President, ma'am.
So would you say po na nasa circle of trust kayo ni VP Duterte? Kayo ni na Miss Gina Acosta, Colonel La Chica at kayo nga po?
Well, ma'am, I can only answer for myself, ma'am. In terms of working relationship, ma'am, I would say that I have the trust and confidence of the VP in terms of doing duties that are assigned to me.
Pero sasabihin nyo ba na walang trust at confidence si VP Duterte kay Miss Gina Acosta?
I cannot categorically say, ma'am, but I would say, ma'am, na could be, baka meron po, considering that there are also duties and functions that are being entrusted to them.
In fact, kung mas candid pa po tayo, madali naman siguro kahit from an observation at hindi lang observation dahil malapit yung katrabaho na may trust and confidence. What about po si Colonel La Chica? Sasabihin nyo ba na walang trust and confidence si VP Duterte sa kanya?
Considering, ma'am, that he is the group commander of the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group, ma'am, I would say, ma'am, I would say that she may have the trust and confidence.
again, kung mas kaya nating maging candid, of course, lalo na kung security officer ng isang public official, of course, may trust and confidence. Otherwise, hindi ipagkakaloob ang kaligtasan sa kamay niya. Lastly po, napaksa for now, paano pong, and winding up Mr. Presiding Officer, paano pong sinama kayo ni Miss Gina Acosta dun sa pag-encash ng mga cheque? Halimbawa, kung kailangan po ni Ms. Acosta ang tagabuhat ng bag, ng cash, bakit po kayo in particular ang sinama niya?
I cannot answer, ma'am, kung bakit ako po ang naisama ni Miss Gina Acosta. But at
Di
the
lang
time,
naisama, pero sabi niyo, hiniling niya sa inyo na
Yeah.
kayo yung sumama.
yes, ma'am.
So, bakit po?
When she requested me, ma'am, to accompany her, ma'am, sinamahan ko naman po siya, ma'am, because at the time na itanong niya na magpapasama siya, I was available naman, ma'am. And because of the request, ma'am, I accompanied her going to the bank.
So, simpleng nagkataon, walang reason kung bakit kayo yung isinama niya. You were the person the warm body who happened to be available.
Again, ma'am, I cannot say kung ano yung pinaka-reason behind po ni Miss Gina, but when she requested me that I accompany her, ma'am, I said yes, ma'am. Nung
Winding up
nag-request
on
siya.
this topic, Mr. Presiding Officer, sinamahan niyo rin po ba si Miss Gina Acosta nung iabot kay Colonel La Chica yung pera?
No, ma'am. I actually did not, I was not aware, ma'am, of the arrangement, ma'am, with Colonel La Chica, ma'am.
At huli po on this topic, Mr. Presiding
Kindly
Officer.
wind up.
Winding up, Mr. Presiding Officer. Nabanggit niyo po na alam ninyo yung joint circular on confidential and intelligence funds. Hindi niyo po ba naisip na violation ang pagbibigay ni Miss Acosta kay Colonel La Chica ng bulto-bultong cold cash?
Ma'am, based on, because again, ma'am, I was not aware of the arrangement, ma'am, but when I was doing the replies, ma'am, to the AOM, and of course, I also checked on the JC, ma'am, the pagpili po ng mga ng person to implement the different activities of the confidential activities and to designate a security officer is indicated also in the JMC and is within the authority of the head of agency. So yun po yung pagkakaintindi ko at the time. So with that, ma'am, I saw it that it was the manner of how the funds were handled, ma'am, was following a regular process, ma'am, based on the JMC, based on my understanding.
But then again, Mr. Ortonio, in closing, yung close reading ng JMC na sabi nyo nga familiar kayo would show na hiwalay pa sa usapin ng implementation, yung paghawak ng pondo ay dun lamang sa isang katulad ni Miss Gina Acosta at hindi pwedeng ipagkatiwala bilang accountable officer siya, hindi pwedeng ipasakamay sa iba.
Ang understanding ko po, ma'am, yes, the disbursement is with the special disbursing officer, but the implementation, ma'am, was done through the security officer.
Of course, hindi po ko po tinatanong yung implementation. Tinatanong ko po yung violation ng JMC na alam ninyo nung tinurn over ni Miss Gina Acosta ang bulta-bultong cash kay Colonel La Chica. Something that I simply think should not and could not have escaped your eyes, Mr. Ortonio.
Yes, ma'am. Again, ma'am, based on for the 2022, ma'am, I could not recall that that was a concern, ma'am, in the AOMs, ma'am. Although for the 2023, ma'am, na notice for disallowance, ma'am, it is subject for reply also on our end, ma'am, and we are currently drafting also a reply for that one.
And of course, given the strict internal controls na siguro kayo yung pinaka may oversight sa opisina, even prior further communications from COA, after yung unang pagpansin nila sa last quarter 2022, edi dapat nag-exert kayo ng higit na pagbantay the next 3 quarters of 2023.
Ma'am,
Kindly wind up, Senator Judge Riza.
Yes, winding up now, Mr. President.
Your Honor, we were able to receive the audit observation memo for 2022 in October 4 of 2023. So we got the observations po, ma'am. And we already got the AOM, ma'am, and yung 3 quarters for 2023 was already implemented.
Again po, Mr. Ortonio, even prior any further communications from COA, dahil familiar kayo sa JMC, sabi nyo nga, dapat alam nyo na po yun. Dagang salamat, Mr. Ortonio.
Thank you, Senator
Maraming
Judge
salamat po,
Risa.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Senator Judge Lacson, you may proceed with the interjections when you're ready, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good afternoon, Mr. Ortonio.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
You know, even setting aside your educational background and your work experience, it is not difficult to conclude na matalino kayong tao, you're an intelligent person, and an intelligent witness as well. So, kayo po yung Assistant Chief of Staff ng OBP.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kayo rin yung concurrently Administrative and Financial Officer.
As the Assistant Chief of Staff, sir, I oversee the Administrative and Financial Officer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, effectively, kayo yung Admin and Financial Officer.
Yes, sir. I oversee the Admin and Finance, sir.
You know, kanina kasi, upon questioning ni Attorney Christine, she kept referring to the regular programs under the Office of the Vice President. No? Natatandaan niyo yun? So it aroused my curiosity. No? Pina-pull out ko sa staff yung General Appropriations Act ng 2022 as well as 2023. So we found out, papabasa ko sa inyo para hindi ma-charge sa oras ko. No? For 2022, under the Good Governance Program, merong 621.6 million pesos. Pakibasa nyo na lang, kayo na lang.
Sorry, sir. Hindi ko makita, sir. Okay. For fiscal year 2022, sir, under Good Governance Program, General Appropriations Act, 621.6 million, sir.
Please continue.
And then Physical and Financial Plan for the Confidential and Intelligence Funds, 125 million for the 4th quarter. And then for fiscal year 2020,
Under the same program, Good Governance Program,
Good Governance
under
Program.
the PFP.
Under the PFP,
Okay, please
sir.
continue.
And then for fiscal year 2023, Socio-Economic Program Delivery, 2.21 billion billion under General Appropriations Act, and then 500 million for 125 million first quarter, 125 million second quarter, 125 million third quarter, and 125 million fourth quarter.
Okay. For a total of 500 million more.
500 million.
Okay. Next slide. I-juxtapose ko naman yung next slide, wag na yan. I-juxtapose ko yung 2022 at saka 2023 OBP Physical and Financial Plans, Confidential Intelligence, dalawang budget years. Pakibasa yung last quarter, physical target.
Baka pwede pong ma-request na
Okay,
ma-zoom.
Zoom. Pwede bang hindi charge sa time ko ako magbabasa? Okay. Letter A, number of identified areas with surveillance conducted and monitored. Letter B, percentage of activities implemented without and toward security-related incidents. Paulit-ulit po ito, no? So, sabi ko kanina, kayo naman ay mukhang matalinong tao at matalinong witness. Ano pong analysis nyo dyan?
On the
Very simply, paano nyong i-analyze yung ganitong klaseng mga descriptions?
These are the activities that will be done, sir.
I know. Pero
Yes,
kung
sir.
i-analyze nyo, ano ibig sabihin nito? Hindi ba ito insulto sa common sense? Hindi man lang nyo binago ng konti, at least si Colonel Chica siguro ito. No? Una-una, regular program, sana man lang, pagdating sa PFP, binago nyo yung nomenclature. Tapos, under the physical target, yung column, sana man lang, binago nyo yung activities. Copy-paste eh. Again, ulitin ko, tingin ko sa inyo, matalinong tao, matalinong witness, anong tingin nyo rito? Kung i-describe nyo in one word.
Sir, I cannot
Ako na mag-describe. I think it's stupid. Sana man lang, binago-bago niya ng konti. Maraming salamat, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Next would be Senator Judge Padilla.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Tagapamahalang Hukom. Meron lang po akong tanong sa ating saksi. Opo. Ginoo, sa palagay niyo po ba karapat-dapat lamang na gumamit ng alias kapag confidential fund ang pinag-uusapan?
Sir, as someone who does not know, sir, implementations of parang mga confidential activities on the ground, sir, I cannot, hindi po ako makakasagot ng maayos, sir, kung pwede po ba or hindi. But based on information that I got, sir, when I consolidated the answers for the AOM, sir, hindi naman po siya na-mention sa akin po ni Colonel Chica. But I know, sir, that activities, confidential activities are considered to be sensitive. And there might be individuals or groups that need to be somehow protected, sir, because of the information that you would be getting from those people, sir. So, yun po yung tingin ko, sir. Hindi ko categorically masasabi na pwede po yung alias or hindi. But going back to the JMC also, sir, sa Joint Memorandum Circular, there is no specific provision, sir, that indicates kung paano po yung paglagay ng mga pangalan sa documentary evidence of payments.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Meron po akong tanong sa prosecution. Magandang hapon po. Napakaganda po ng inyong ngiti.
Good
Opo.
afternoon din po, sir.
Opo. Batid po ba ninyo ngayon, mga petsa na to, kung ano ang pinagdiriwang natin sa Pilipinas? Magmula po 19 hanggang 30.
Buwan ng wika daw po, sir.
Bukod po sa buwan ng wika,
National Heroes Day.
National Heroes Day. Ito po ay hango sa ating mga bayani. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Opo. Naniniwala po ba kayo na ang ating mga bayani ay may mga alias? Kilala niyo po ba sila Di Masalang?
I'm sorry po sa aking history teaching.
Ayan, opo.
Hindi ko na po maalala.
Ito po ang pinakamagandang panahon para maipaalala po sa inyo na ang ating mga bayani ay gumamit ng mga alias. Di Masalang, Siling Labuyo, Tikbalang, Tagailog, May Pag-asa, Buwan, Magdalo, Leon Kilat, Vibora, Lakambini, Paralitiko, Dimas, Alipato, Liwanag, Balite, at marami pa pong iba. Ano po ang kahalagahan dito, palagay po ninyo? Ang alias po, anong kahalagahan?
Well, first, sir, first, Your Honor, I cannot comment because I'm not sure of the circumstances surrounding their use of alias. Under the anti-alias law, sir, inaalaw naman po yung paggamit ng alias provided kailangan po nakabanggit din, nakadisclose kung ano yung real name. So it's not completely prohibited provided they also provide the real
Opo.
the real name. So,
Pakisagot lang muna po yung tanong ko bago po yung explanation po ninyo. Pakisagot lang po kung narinig nyo na po yung mga alias na yan. Ngayon lang po nyo narinig.
Some of it po, Your
Ayun.
Honor, to be candid, some of it I've already heard.
Magmula po 1892 hanggang 1896, ginagamit po nila ang mga alias na yan. Nagkaroon lang po ng isang traidor, ang pangalan ay Teodoro Patiño, na nagbulgar sa Katipunan. Alam po ba niyo yun?
Yes, Your Honor. But the circumstances then were different because we were
Bakit po iba?
under...
Bakit po iba? Bakit po na iba?
May gera po nun, sir, and we were under
Wala po ba tayong
occupation.
gera sa NPA? Ang NPA po, merong mga alias. Meron pong ka-Cobra, ka-Agila, ka-Lawin, ka-Tigre, ka-Kapre, ka-Sirena, ka-Adobo, ka-Sinigang, ka-Pansit, ka-Tinola, ka-Sile, ka-Kamote, ka-Bawang, ka-Maxi, ka-Labuyo.
Strictly speaking,
Lahat po yan,
sir,
ginagamit
iba po
na
yung
alias.
internal armed conflict, iba naman din po yung war.
Bakit po na iba? Pareho po itong clear and present danger sa atin. So ang gusto ko lamang pong ipaalam sa ating prosecution na napakahalaga po ng alias sa panahon ng... Kayo po, sagutin po nyo, sa panahon ng...
Gera, sir, Your Honor.
Ang confidential po. Ang pagkilos confidential ay napakahalaga at hindi po ginagamit ang pangalan at hindi po pumipirma. At alam niyo po ba, noong September 12, 1896, ano nangyari? Nagkaroon tayo ng 13 martires. Yung mga nagtraidor ay itinuro ang mga totoong pangalan, totoong lugar, kung nasaan yung mga sumusuporta sa Katipunan.
If I may, Your
One
Honor.
last na lang po.
Kindly wind
One
up,
last,
Senator
one
Judge
last na lang
Padilla.
po.
If I may, Your Honor, just address your question earlier. With all due respect, Your Honor, the prosecution respectfully submits that whether the use of alias is allowed or not and whether it's necessary or not, to us, that is a non-issue because that was never raised
Hindi po
by
pwedeng
the...
maging non-issue sapagkat ito po ang ipinalalabas ng prosecution.
If I may, Your
Na
Honor,
may mga pangalan, na mga katawa-tawang pangalan. Mas nakakatawa po itong mga pangalan nung mga nangyari nung araw.
with all due
At isa
respect,
pa
Your
po,
Honor,
isa na lang
if
po. Kasi isa na lang po.
Kindly wind up,
Ito na lang
Judge
po.
Padilla.
Kilala niyo po ba kung sino si Marcial Bonifacio?
to be candid, Your Honor,
Oh.
I'm not
Sino po?
familiar.
Si Benigno
I'm sorry,
Aquino
Your Honor.
Jr. Si Ninoy. Siya mismo may alias. Maraming salamat po.
Your Honor, if I just may, Your Honor, just to set the record straight, because it was made to, with all due respect to the Senator Judge, it was...
Presiding Judge, allowed ba yun?
I was about to make a ruling.
Maraming
Senator
salamat
Judge
po.
Padilla. There was no question posed or poised. Attorney May. Let's proceed to the next Senator Judge who would interject. By the way, did you intentionally get rid of the platform?
Yes, Your Honor, because we were not expecting that I'd be called again, Your Honor, to make way for the Honorable Chair of the
Okay.
panel of
Understood.
prosecutors, Your Honor.
Understood. Senator Judge Aquino,
Thank
you're
you.
recognized for interjection. You may proceed, sir, when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
So bago po yung 2 minutes, Mr. Presiding Officer, tama po, si Ninoy Aquino po ang kanyang alias ay Marcial Bonifacio para makauwi po siya sa Pilipinas nung nasa Boston siya. Oho. Pero wala naman ho siyang confidential funds na, wala ho siya sa mga AR na confidential funds. Lilinawin ko lang ho. Okay. Pagdating ho sa prosecution, ang posisyon ng prosecution, yung mga pangalan ay totoong tao, di ba? Correct, no? You have not really mentioned aliases in any of your... Wala. Could you respond quickly? We have talked about aliases. Is the prosecution talking about aliases?
That was never our point, Your Honor. In fact, the point of the prosecution is that was never raised by the defense either in their answer or in their pre-trial brief, Your Honor. So to us, that should be a non-issue because even them, they never claimed that in any of their pleadings before
Okay,
this
thank you.
honorable court.
Okay, klaklaruin ko lang ha. Ang siyang tao lang pong nagsabi na alias po sila, si Miss Gina Acosta in her testimony. Kanina po, sabi niyo rin na Mr. Ortonio na hindi siya alias or hindi niyo alam. But si Miss Gina Acosta in her testimony did admit that in her perspective, these are aliases. No? Just for the record po. Okay. So ito po yung mga tanong ko po. Sana po ito lang yung 2 minutes ko, Mr. Presiding Officer. So unang-una, Mr. Otonio, you're very competent. Thank you for your answers. And I want you to answer just very candidly, no? Ano po yung naging personal reaction ninyo nung napag-usapan na yung possible misuse of the confidential funds at nung na-bring up na yung mga tawagin din nating katawa-tawang pangalan na parang klaro naman ay hindi naman talaga totoong tao? Ano po yung personal reaction po ninyo?
Initial reaction, sir, would be, of course, merong questions, sir, no? There would be questions. But again, sir, I go back to the presumption, sir, that there is regularity in terms of the implementation, sir.
Okay. So, may I ask, since you're in the top leadership of the OVP, nung nabibring up na to, ano yung personal reaction, kung alam nyo lang, ng Vice President, ng Chief of Staff, other leaders in your group, nung napag-usapan na posibleng nabigay yung pera sa mga kakaibang pangalan o baka hindi totoong tao, what was your reaction? What was their reaction? Would you know? Nag-meeting ba kayo? Did you call for an emergency meeting? Did you have a huddle in your office to talk about this?
Sir, because yung AOM, sir, because it was sent to my office, sir, pina-personally received sa akin, sir, on behalf of the Vice President. Of course, I provided a copy to the Chief of Staff, sir, and the Vice President. Ang naging instruction lang naman po sa akin, sir, was to respond to the AOMs and make consultations with the Special Disbursing Officer and Security Officer para masagot yung mga concerns or issues raised by COA.
Okay. Yan yung mga actions nyo, Mr. Ortonio. I'm asking about your reaction. Kinabahan ba kayo? Were you worried? Were you concerned? Was there any concern shown by the Vice President, by the Chief of Staff, by people in your office na posible itong perang ito ay hindi nagamit sa tama?
On the matter of concern, sir, I think there is a concern considering that there is already an immediate instruction, sir, to reply to the AOM.
That's the
sir.
AOM. Let's go to the bringing up of these names in Congress. Nung lumabas na yung piatos, pusa, pagong, mga ganyan, were you concerned na yung pera ng bayan posibleng hindi nagamit sa tama at ito'y pinirmahan mo at ito'y nakapangalan sa inyong opisina, for example? Were you concerned?
Sir,
Honestly.
parang immediate reaction, sir. Yes, sir, but nung as the hearings went on, sir, parang binabalikan ko yung AOM, sir. Hindi kasi po siya na-raise doon sa AOMs. So, parang nabawasan po yung concern ko, personal concerns ko with those acknowledgement receipts.
Did you call for an internal investigation after na-reveal yung mga pangalan na kakaiba? Nagpatawag ba kayo ng investigasyon sa inyong opisina?
I personally did not, sir, hindi na po ako nagpatawag. Sir.
Did your office call for an internal investigation?
On that matter, sir, I do not know, sir, if there is an instruction coming from the head of agency, sir. But personally to me, sir, none, sir.
Okay. So, ito kasi, Mr. Ortonio, no, sa aming, well,
Heto na ang isa sa mga winners ng Bombo Radio 60th Anniversary Limited Edition AM/FM Radio na may LED light plus 500 pesos cash.
Oras diri sa Bombo Radio Coronadal, may yara na kita sang 50 minutos makaligad ang alauna sa hapon. Mag-award anay kita mga kabombo sa aton nga tagdaog nga magabaton sang aton nga matahom nga Bombo Radio kag 500 pesos nga cash. I-welcome naton din suragwagan sa Bombo Radio Coronadal si Nanay Gloria M. Aliejo sa Brooklynville Subdivision Barangay Zone 4 Coronadal City nga mayara sa proof of purchase nga Omega Painkiller. Nanay, mayong hapon sa imo.
Good afternoon, mayong hapon man.
Kamusta ikaw?
Okay man, okay gid kay may radyo na ako may 500 pa.
Oo. Pila ng pangidaro ni nanay?
66.
66. Pila ang kabataan?
Single.
Single.
Yeah.
Single blessedness. Pero
Yes.
nanay, ang pamangkot ko sa imo, nalipay ka man bala, apisar nga single ka?
Oo naman, kasi ang sister ko, nag-pass away siya and I took care of the children. Gagmay pa sila.
So, bali, may mga anak-anakan ka.
Yes,
Oo.
oo.
Pila sila kabilog?
3.
Oo. Ining 3 nga ini, nakatapos na
Yes,
bala?
oo. 2 ka nurse and then isa ka IT na BJMP siya right now.
Wow. So, despite of that, may ara sang ginatawag gid nga purpose, gid ang mahal nga makaako, no? So, may ara kagid sang nangin mga bata man.
Oo.
Subong ginapagkabalahan naton, ma'am?
Nang may ara ako friend nga may ara siya sang apartment. Actually, after this, malakat ko dito sa apartment kay magtanaw, hulat-hulat ka lang ha. May kwaon pa ko.
Alright. Sige, ara na, ma'am, dawatang imo nga, matahom nga Bombo Radio,
Yeah.
rechargeable ni siya, may LED light, kag
Yes.
pwede mo ni siya bit-biton.
Yes.
Kag at the same time, ang 500 pesos nga cash.
Yes.
Bilangon ta, anay, kunin sakto 500 nga ang imo nga ginauyatan.
Okay.
Okay? 100. Bilangon na to sabay-sabay.
Okay. Sige.
Take two.
Take 2. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500.
Pesos nga cash. Anong gagawin natin sa 500 pesos na cash na yan, ma'am?
Damo to gaulat. Siyempre, gusto ko madaog sang 1 million.
1 million. Oo, ikaw ang gagamit sang Omega Painkiller?
Oo, kami daw sang brother ko.
Oo, anong kasakit sa imo, how?
Ay, may back pain di ako.
Back pain.
Oo, back pain.
Grabe no, ka-effective gid sang Omega
Yes,
Painkiller.
oo. Wala na medicine na mula na ginagamit namon ang Omega. Pag nang magsakit ang mga kasukasuhan, Omega lang, wala kami ka-take medicine.
Alright. Ano man ang gusto mo ihambal sa Bombo Radio kag Star FM, kag syempre sa ato nga product sponsor, Omega Painkiller sa nabaton mga premyo.
Oo. Salamat gid sa una-una no sa Dios kay ginhimo kamo nga instrumento nga damo kamo mabuligan through Bombo Radio. Damo gid nga salamat man sa sponsor sa Omega. Salamat gid diri sa Bombo Radio kay damo gid kamo nabuligan nga mga tao na malipay gid nga magtiyaga lang sa mga promo, mangita lang gid sang mabakal abi amo sina kay kung may entry ka madaog ka gid.
Tama, sakto gid. Diba? Si may gusto ka tamyawon or i-greet sa...
Ay, i-greet ko ang akon nga sister nga nagahulat niya. Bakal ka sa amo to.
Pinagahulat.
Nagahulat na.
Oo, i-invite mo man ang tanan, especially
oo.
sa taga-Barangay Zone 4, taga-Triniville nga, magsali man sa sininga pa promo.
Ina-invite ko kamo nga magsali sa promo sang Bombo Radio kay daw every 6 months or 3 months may promo kamo para madaog man kamo para sa akon. Sa jagid ko madaog ka kay nagapanghalay ako pag siling ni Bombo Bing nga trend ba ko ako na ba? Ako gid na ba?
Grabe no.
Oo, ako gid.
Ikaw gid man.
Oo.
Grabe ang power of manifestation.
Manifestation.
Basta Radio!
Bombo ang number 1.
Congratulations once
Thank
again
you,
sa ating
thank you.
special prize winner sa buong adlaw sang Miyerkules, Agosto 26, tuig 2026, Ma'am Gloria Alieo sa Purok Triniville Subdivision, Barangay Zone 4, Coronadal City, mayara sa proof of purchase nga Omega Painkiller. Siya ang nakabaton sang matahom nga radyo kag 500 pesos nga cash. Kabombo, ibalik naton sa nagapadayon nga impeachment trial bato kay Vice President SARA Duterte Carpio.
Chief of Staff or the Chief of Staff and the Assistant Chief of Staff, sir, who responds to AOMs on behalf of the institution.
Pero sabi niyo po, kayo po sumasagot ng AOM.
Yes, sir. That's part of the tasks that are given to us, sir, together with the Chief of
How
Staff.
can
sir.
you, I was just wondering kanina po, sir, how can you answer questions, queries, kung wala na pa po kayong alam? Paano niyo po masasagot ng tama? The only way to do that is you will lie.
That's why po, sir, meron pong instruction that was given to me, sir, by the head of agency, sir,
Na?
to talk with the special disbursing officer and the security officer para makuha po yung mga information from them and malatag po doon sa reply to the AOMs.
So your reply was only based on what they said, what they told you.
That's correct, sir.
Ayon. Without documents, resibo, etc. None of that. Just plainly na. Ginoong Antonio, dito po namin ginastos yung pera. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, sir. I consulted with them, sir, for the reply, sir.
Hindi ka ba kahit na katiting man lang na duda, sir, na medyo mali yata ang paggasta ng confidential fund ng OVP ni Colonel Chica? Wala, hindi man lang sumagi sa'yo na medyo may duda ka na. Something is wrong here. Wala man lang. None at all.
At the time, sir, may yung mga issues naman, sir, and when I consulted with the security officer, he was able to provide a reply naman, sir. So, although yes, initially, parang you would question, sir, no? But with the replies that I got from the security officer, sir, we were able to respond to them already to COA.
The reason why I asked you that, ginong witness, was that nandiyan po kayo, syempre po yung tiwala ng VP po sa inyo. Di mo lang ninyo naisip na, teka mali ito, baka sumabit si VP SARA, sumabit ang OVP. Baka hindi naman talaga nagastos ni Carla Chica, baka ay hindi talaga napupunta sa kungkan. Di ho lang ninyo naisip. Or didn't you tell the Vice President, ma'am, ano ho kaya? Pwede bang tanungin ninyo ito or pwede ba silipin? Nada no, hindi mo lang nakausap si VP. Hinayaan nyo lang hinayaan na tumuloy-tuloy for several months, several quarters yung ganitong klaseng expenditure. Nobody informed the Vice President.
Sir, hindi naman po na hinayaan, sir, because all the replies naman po, sir, are also given to the Vice President for her review and final approval before it is being signed and to be sent to the Commission on Audit.
When you sign the report, sir, alam na po ni VP. Is that what you're saying? Nakita niya na po na pinambili ng ganito, ng information, ng gamot, ng mga lamesa, na alam na ng VP before you signed it.
Before I signed it, sir.
So dumaan na sa table ni VP.
Yes, sir.
Kindly wind up,
Thank
Senator
you
Judge
po,
Irwin.
Ginong Testigo. Mr. Presiding Officer, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Judge Irwin. To avail of the first round, Senator Judge Marcos, you are recognized, ma'am. You may proceed when you're ready. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, maraming salamat, Mr. Ortonio. Medyo nalilito lang po kami dahil paiba-iba yung explanation. Nag-umpisa sa PFP. Bakit iba yung 2022 PFP kung saan maliwanag na nakasaad good government lamang. Pero nung nagsulat kayo, yung request ninyo sa DBM, noong 22 August ng 2022, ang sinabi na, dalawang bagay. Good governance plus conduct of official engagements and functional representation in international and domestic events. Bakit nagbago na siya samantalang dapat yung request talagang parehong-pareho dun sa PFP?
Ma'am, I cannot specifically answer, ma'am, on kung bakit po good governance lang po yung nailagay doon because again, ma'am, I was not hindi po ako part ng pag-craft nung physical
PFP.
Nung PFP po,
Hindi ka
ma'am.
pa kasali noon sa PFP, ganun ba yon?
Yes, ma'am, I'm not part of the drafting of the PFP.
Pero hindi
ma'am.
kayo nasabihan na hindi ito matching dun sa PFP, yung request na sinulat.
There was no comment, ma'am, when we submitted it to the DBM, ma'am.
Tapos, nung certification na, liquidation na to, nung 17 October 2023, nagbago na naman. Ang sinabi na naman, hindi good governance, hindi na conduct of official engagement, ang sabi na no untoward incident in the implementation of OVP programs. Bakit pa iba-iba yung wording maski sa certification?
Again, ma'am, for the certification, ma'am, I cannot provide information, ma'am, because it was the security officer who handled it, Your Honor.
Akala ko may supervisory and administrative power ka kasi nga assistant kayo ng Vice Presidente. Hindi ba nagre-report sa inyo yung mga security officer kahit papano? Kasi madadamay ka rin yan sa COA. Bakit pa iba-iba? From PFP to budget request to certification, hindi nagtutugma.
First, ma'am, on the matter of the different wordings, ma'am, if I can recall, Your Honor, it was never raised also in the audit observation memo, ma'am. So it is something na we did not anymore look into when we were preparing the replies. And then for the second concern, ma'am, if the security officer is reporting to me, ma'am. Unfortunately, ma'am, the security officer does not report to me. I only handle overall supervision for the Administrative and Financial Services and Strategy Management Office in relation to regular funding po, ma'am.
I see. So yung security officer, kanino nagre-report?
The security officer, ma'am, directly reports to the head of agency, Vice
So kaya
President.
sa iyo, Mr. Ortonio, at saka kay Attorney Lopez, hindi na nagre-report yun?
In the performance po ni Colonel Chica as security officer, no longer, ma'am.
So masasabi mo ba na wala kang personal knowledge kung saan ginastos ni Colonel Chica dun sa confidential funds?
No, ma'am. I would have no personal knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, that will be all. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Senator Judge Marcos. Senator Judge Rafi Tulfo, you are recognized, sir. You may proceed when you're ready, and you have 2 minutes.
Mr. Witness, sakitin ba ang marami sa inyong mga informants? May mga malalang sakit ba sila?
Sir, that I would have no personal knowledge po, sir.
You should. Kasi ito, ang dami. 170,000, 50,000, 200,000 each informant. So para mabigyan nyo ng napakalaking halaga bawat isang informant pambili ng gamot, dapat magtataka ka. Anong gamot kayong bibili nito? Bilang isang intelihenteng tao, I know you're very intelligent, you're very smart. Did you not try to ask? O at least nagtaka? Baka may rheuma, arthritis, nagpapakimo, should have asked. At kung mga bata nga, inquisitive yung mga bata, anong gamot ang bibilin mo? Paghingan mo ng perang bata, kunyari, Toy, pahingin pera, bili akong gamot. Anong gamot bibilin mo, kuya? Bata yun na, grade 1. Ikaw pa kaya? Why?
At the time po, sir, I did not ask anymore kay Colonel Chica, sir.
Why not?
Because, sir, I already gave I trusted what the security officer mentioned to me, sir.
But it is your responsibility to know. Kasi ikaw pumipirma doon sa AOM.
Sir, in terms of the responsibility to know, sir, I'm not sure, sir, if I'm the one who's responsible to know, sir. But the
So
task
you're
to
not
me,
sure. That means, ayoko nang gumamit ng pangsalita. It's unbelievable. It defies logic talaga, really, sir. You're not really making sense at all. Anyway, move on tayo. Yung, alam mo naman sa DOH, nagbibigay ng libreng gamot. Meron
Yes,
kayong mga medical assistance program.
yes, sir.
Oh, ba't di nila kayo humingi sa DOH? In fact, by the hundreds of millions and billions, nag-expire lang dyan sa bodega ng DOH, natatapon lang. Sayang. So dapat humingi na lang kayo sa DOH. Bigyan nyo lahat ng informant nyo ng kung anong klaseng gamot. Libre pa. Nakalibre kayo.
The wisdom behind how the confidential funds were implemented, sir, I cannot answer, sir, because again, sir, I am not the main implementer for the said activities.
Kaya
sir.
nga, Mr. Smart Guy, nung makita mo na ang dami mga informant na binigyan ng mga hundreds of thousands each para sa gamot, you could have asked La Chica and said, La Chica, bakit di tayo pumunta sa DOH, maghingi tayo ng gamot para makalibre, makatipid tayo sa confidential funds? Libre naman sa DOH. Pag Office of the President maghingi, may budget, meron kayo allocation doon, I'm sure. In fact, sa Davao, ginagawa nyo na yun eh.
Sir, that I cannot answer, sir.
So again, it defies logic. Hindi po kapani-paniwala ang mga pinagsasabi mo. Sir, for me, it really defies logic. Sayang po yung pagkatalino mo rito. Nasira po yung pagiging isang matalino mong tao. Nakakahiya po dun sa mga eskwelahan na kung saan ka nag-aral at nag-graduate. Because ngayon, pinakita mo na nagsasalita ka na para kang, sorry sir, nagtatanga-tangahan. Salamat po sir. Pasensya na sir.
Your Honor, with all due respect, Your Honor, I personally take offense of that comment, sir. I actually just did my duty, sir. At the time, sir, I believe na yun po yung kailangan kong gawin bilang isang empleyado po, sir. And I did my work, sir, based on what was tasked of me, sir, including the limitations that I can do to the duty that I will be doing, sir.
So you're talking about limitation. Ikaw ang deputy COS and then malapit ka kay VP SARA and then pirma mo ang nakasaad doon sa AOM. So karapatan mo po magtanong. Okay? Now, you're talking about taking offense. Paano naman po yung mga taong bayan? They're being offended sa paglulustay nyo ng pera. Lumilito na parang nilulustay ang pera dito eh. Pera ng taong bayan po ito ang pinag-uusapan natin. If you're taking offense, mas lalo pong offended ang napakaraming Pilipino ngayon. Kasi hindi mo pa naibibigay ang tamang sagot. Pero kung naibigay mo ng magandang sagot, logical na sagot, then mawawala po yung sama ng loob ng taong bayan sa inyo.
Sir, with all due respect, sir, I believe, sir, this matter of the confidential fund, sir, is still pending the final decision, sir. We are currently still submitting our motion for reconsideration on this one, sir. And we still have not received any final reply on this one.
What I'm talking about, sir, is yung mga sagot niyo po, it defies logic para sa isang matalinong tao. Kasi kung ako, sir, pinesenta sa akin yung mga ganong klaseng dokumento at nagtanong ako at hindi nasagot ng maayos, I will resign. Kaysa naman makulong ako. Kaysa naman maipit ako ngayon tulad nangyari sa'yo at saka mga previous witnesses. Di ba? Dalawa lang yun eh. Patuloy kang magbubulag-bulagan, pirma ka lang ng pirma dyan, nakapikit. Pero ang consequence yan, maaari kang makulong, maaari kang makasuhan. Anything can happen. Or mag-resign ka na lang. Kung ako, I will resign. Mapapahama ako dyan, ba't ako pipirma dyan? Bakit ako pipirma sa mga nakalagay pagong, piatos, pikit, etc. Kung ano pa mga kengkoy na mga pangalan, I would not consent to that. Outright sabihin ko, pag hindi niyo ipaliwanag sa akin, I will resign. Period. Thank you po.
That was not a question, Mr. Orton. You need to answer. With the permission of Senator Judge Tulfo, may the chair replace the word nagtatanga-tangahan with feigning ignorance on the record? I see Senator Judge Tulfo nodding. So let the records so reflect the statement feigning ignorance in lieu of the Tagalog word mentioned earlier. Yes, Senator Judge Pangilinan is recognized. You have 2 minutes, sir. You may proceed when you're ready.
Yes, thank you. Before my time is begins to run, can we have a request for the uploading of third quarter to, no? Yeah, okay. Again, good afternoon, Mr. Ortonio. This is the accomplishment report for the third quarter of 2023, July 14 to September 30. Now, it appears here wala na yung 40 million pesos worth of medicines. Correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Meron siya nung last quarter, meron siya nung first quarter, meron siya nung second quarter. Pero nung third quarter, wala na. Sabi mo kanina dahil yun ang hinihingi nung mga informant. So, nung third quarter, wala nang hiningi. Ano yun? Gumaling na silang lahat?
That I cannot, again, sir, I cannot answer, sir.
Yes. At hindi ba you received the AOM on October? Sometime in October?
October 4, 2023,
Okay.
sir.
Ito, October 9. So doon sa October 4, when you received the AOM, nandun na yung findings na dinidisallow or pinapa-submit ang additional documents. Tama? For medicines, etc.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. So, mukhang hindi gumaling lahat nung binibigyan ng gamot. Ang nangyari, mukhang dahil nakita ninyo yung AOM at ipinagbabawal, binago ninyo. Tama po ba yun?
Sir, again, sir, I cannot answer kung binago yung accomplishment report, sir, because it's something that I personally did not prepare also,
Okay.
sir.
Now, I move on to another point. Sabi nyo, nung natanggap nyo yung AOM, you went point by point sa mga issues, tama?
Yes, sir.
Ang tanong, bakit di nyo binuksan yung sealed envelope dun sa ARs? Kasi andun lahat ng mga acknowledgement receipt. Bawal ba?
Sir, I did not open, sir, because at the time, sir, the AOM indicated that we are requested to submit the documentary evidence of payments. And
that is the acknowledgement receipts. That is
Acknowledgement
what you are being
receipts.
required to submit.
To submit, sir.
So
Yes,
should
sir.
you not have gone through the acknowledgement receipts to check because you're being asked to submit the documentary evidence of payment and to check if the ARs are actually documentary evidence acceptable?
Sir, yun na po yung nabigay sa akin ng special disbursing officer, sir. So,
No, okay. The question is, why didn't you open the envelope?
sir, I did not open anymore, sir, because at the time, sir, I also have a designation as
Were you instructed not to open it?
Sir, as liaison officer kasi, sir, I am not in the position, sir, to open yung sealed na
But you were
DEP,
instructed
sir.
to submit documentary evidence of payment. So you, in other words, you complied without going through the documentary evidence of payment? How can you now tell if it was documentary evidence of payment that you were submitting when you did not open the envelope? What were you submitting?
I personally did not open it anymore,
That's why,
sir.
but you were being required by COA to submit, to comply. So
Yes, sir.
So would you say that was substantial compliance?
Sir, yun po kasi yung na-require ng AOM, sir. So we submitted the documentary evidence
Kasi
of
ang
payment.
sitwasyon dito, dahilan mo o depensa mo na hindi mo na tiningnan o hindi mo nakita. Pero tama bang depensa yun? Na hindi mo nakita kaya hindi mo masasagot? Kasi ganun din ang sinabi mo, wala ako doon, wala ako sa ground, I'm not in the implementation, kaya hindi ko masagot. Is that compliance with, the requirements of COA?
Sir, the duty po, sir, to ensure that the DEPs...
There was nothing to stop you from opening the envelope, right? There was nothing.
Sir, the JC, sir, indicates, sir, that there are only certain individuals who have access
You
to
could get
the-
clearance, could you?
Sir,
Of
that's
course.
what...
Of course you can.
I did not ask anymore, sir, because I parang respectfully in-acknowledge ko na kung ano yung nakalagay sa JC, sir.
In other words, you really did not go point for point as you earlier testified to. Kasi pag sinabi mo we went point for point, parang masinop yung naging trabaho ninyo. Di ba? Thorough. Point for point. Pero ang lumalabas dito ngayon, hindi nyo binuksan yung documentary evidence of payment, hindi nyo binusisi. Di ba? Sinabmit lang ninyo. Again, we're talking of hundreds of millions of pesos. And I'd like to think, being an intelligent Ateneo graduate, diba, that you would have exercised greater diligence as you tried to monitor, check on, supervise financial services head how government money was being spent. Yun ang tinatanong ng mga kababayan natin. Mahirap paniwalaan, I'll wrap it up here, na kayo ay gumastos ng 122 million para sa gamot na reward dahil nag-surveillance yung mga informant at nabigyan ng reward at hiningi nila gamot at hindi niyo binigyan ng gamot, binigyan niyo ng pera para sila nang bibili ng gamot. Sabi niyo usual yun.
Kindly wrap up, Senator Judge Pangilinan.
No further questions, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Judge Pangilinan. Finally, Senate President Senate President Gatchalian,
Thank you.
and then Senator Judge Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
wrap it up.
Merong binabasa ko itong reply ninyo, Mr. Ortonio, to COA, dated November 30, 2023. At nakasulat dito, I'll flash it on the screen. Paki-flash na lang. Hence, the 125 million CF was fully utilized for expenses planned, implemented, and paid during the 3-month period covering October to December 2022. So, sino nagbayad ng 125 million in advance?
Sir, there was no payment in advance that was made, sir. All payments were made between the period of December 21 to December 31, sir.
But very clear kasi dito na binayaran na siya paid 3 months in advance. In fact, mayroon pa siyang months. And ito yung kadugtong ng sinabi ng ating presiding officer, obligation incurred. So, ang basa ko dito, nabayaran na siya. Kaya reimburse na lang ng 125 CF.
Sir, if I may be allowed, sir, to clarify, Your Honor, yung parang explanation from yesterday, sir. For the period of October to December 2022, sir, based on the information that was shared by the security officer, once we have already submitted yung PFP sometime in September, the security team, sir, meaning si Colonel Chica, sir, already made coordination with informants or agents on the ground. As to the extent of the coordination that they did, sir, I am not privy to that anymore. However, when we received the SARA in December 13, 2022, which already indicates that we already have the funding for the confidential funds, that's the time that they were able to make definitive agreements with the informants on the ground. And once the payment, once the check has been encashed already, that's the time that payments were made between the period of December 21 to 31.
Mas realistic pa kasi kung in advance tapos reimburse kaysa 125 million gagastusin in 11 days. So mas realistic pa nga itong explanation ninyo kaysa doon sa 11 days na gagastusin. And we're talking about 845 acknowledgement receipts scattered all over the country. Kaya itong explanation ninyo mas realistic pa. Albeit, although violation ng joint circular.
So I'd like to point out lang, Your Honor, that there were no reimbursements made, sir, based on what was relayed to me, sir. There was no reimbursements
But
made.
this was information relayed to you by La Chica.
Colonel La Chica, sir.
And itong si Colonel La Chica, kanina naririnig ko, hindi nyo alam yung direct na ginagawa niya, hindi rin alam ni Acosta. So, sino lang nakakaalam sa opisina ninyo tungkol sa confidential operations or itong paggastos ng confidential operations?
For the confidential operations, sir, again, sir, I have no personal knowledge, sir. I would assume, sir, because meron po siyang designation from our head of agency, then the reportorial duties, I would presume, would be directly to the head of agency.
Which is si Vice President Sara.
Which is
So
the head
dalawang
of
tao
agency.
lang sa opisina ninyo, si Vice President Sara at si Colonel Chica lang ang alam kung paano gastusin itong 500 million.
Sir, I would have no personal knowledge again, sir, kung sila lang pong dalawa, sir.
Kasi ikaw yung gumawa nung reply, pero galing sa Colonel Chica yung information, si Gina naman kahapon, ganun rin, hindi rin niya alam. So I'm trying to understand sino nakakaalam nung paggastos ng 500 million dahil hindi siya maliit na pondo eh. But based on your information, dalawang tao lang ang parang nakakaalam nito. No? Si Vice President at si Colonel Chica. My last question, Mr. Presiding Officer. Kanina nasabi nyo na based sa information, meron pang mga tao si Colonel Chica. tinransfer ni Acosta yung pera, o dinisburse ni Acosta yung pera kay Colonel Chica. And si Colonel Chica, dinisburse niya ulit dito sa mga tao niya. So, double handling ang nangyari dito sa pera. So, paano natin malalaman kung talagang yung pera ay pumunta sa mga activities o tao na kailangan puntahan dahil ni yung accountable officer hindi niya na alam kung paano na disperse yung pera doon sa mga informants. Anong kwento sa'yo ni Colonel Chica na umabot talaga dito sa mga informants?
Sir, based on what was shared to me, sir, Ms. Gina Acosta disbursed the amount to the security officer and then the security officer implemented it on the ground.
Yeah, but violation na kasi in disbursement to Colonel Chica eh. And then there's another violation na from Colonel Chica to some people who disperse the amounts. Ibig sabihin, ang daming taong humahawak ng pera bago umabot sa mga informants. So, in that sense, ang daming violation o tinakbuhan ng pera. So, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Senate President. With the indulgence of Senator Judge Padilla, Senator Judge Camille Villar will be availing for a first round opportunity to interject. So I will recognize her first. Again, with your indulgence, Senator Judge Padilla, I see you nodding. Senator Judge Camille Villar, you may proceed when you're ready. You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good afternoon po, Mr. Ortonio.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mayong hapon.
So, mayong hapon din. I just have a few clarificatory questions for you, if you don't mind. Tama po ba kayo ang Assistant Chief of Staff ng OVP?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
And kayo po ang sumagot dun sa AOM na pinadala ng COA. Kayo po yung nag-prepare ng report.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, and ano yung what was the process in which that you did that? Or what were the things that you had to do? You prepared the AOM, you consulted with...
Nung na-receive po yung AOM, ma'am, I informed the Chief of Staff and the Vice President. And from there was an instruction to me to coordinate with the Special Disbursing Officer and the Security Officer, which I did also, ma'am. And then from their replies, ma'am, I drafted the response, and then I submitted the reply for final approval to the head of agency.
And of course, in your capacity as the Assistant Chief of Staff and in your own capacity, sa inyo pong palagay ay nagampanan nyo naman yung inyong role dito sa prosesong ito at nagawa nyo naman adequately yung report.
Yes, at the time, ma'am, yes, I would say so, ma'am. Because from the issues that were raised in the AOM and in the NS, marami pong mga concerns or issues na natanggal po doon sa final na natanggal doon sa notice of disallowance that we received.
Okay, and lahat yung mga requirements naman ay na-fulfill nyo naman doon sa report, right? A majority of it.
Yes, lahat po ng mga concerns that were raised, we were able to provide answers and supporting documents.
And doon naman doon po sa AOM, anywhere in the AOM did it say that there was a misuse or misappropriation of the funds?
No, there was no mention po, ma'am.
Okay, and are the findings of the AOM final?
No, ma'am. It is subject for comments, ma'am. And right now, for motion for reconsideration.
Okay. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. Daghang salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you,
Senator Judge
Thank you, Mr.
Camille
Ortonio.
Villar.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Senator Judge Padilla, you may
Salamat
proceed
po.
with your interjection, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong tagapamahalang hukom. Tuloy ko lang po yung ating tanungan. Opo. Pagkatapos po niyong sumagot, pwede pong pati na rin sa depensa. Meron din po akong tanong. Kanina po, nahinto tayo kay
Before
Marshal
you continue,
Bonifacio.
Senator Judge Padilla, next time, Attorney Christine, do you need a platform similar to it was Senator Lor it was Attorney Lorna first asked for it, but I noticed the prosecution has one. Would you wish one to be provided for you at a future time, Attorney Christine, or the
Yes, Your
the
Honor.
side of the respondents?
Yes, Your Honor. I would appreciate having that platform too.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the next hearing, Attorney Christine. Yes, Senator Judge Padilla, you may
Opo.
proceed.
Balikan ko po, naputol po tayo kanina. Opo. Naniniwala po ba kayo na ang confidential fund para yaan po ay makakuha tayo ng impormasyon para makasave ng buhay, para makakaroon tayo ng law and order?
If used properly, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Opo. Kayo po, sa defense, naniniwala po ba kayo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Opo. Kung sa palagay niyo po, nung panahon na si Marshal Bonifacio ay may confidential fund at nalaman niya na merong magtatangka sa kanyang buhay, sa palagay niyo po ba buhay pa si Senator Benigno Aquino ngayon?
Well, assuming, Your Honor, that the foreign occupants were those lone threats to his life, then probably yes, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Kayo po.
Actually, Your Honor, okay. I'm not aware really of the circumstances during that time, Your Honor. So
Okay.
I cannot really comment intelligently on that. Yes, opo. Yes, Your
Opo.
Honor.
Sige. Si Marshal Bonifacio po ang may tuturing nating nagbigay ng daan para sa people power. Yung kanya pong pagkamatay. Opo. Siya po ay na-assassinate. Opo. Sa palagay niyo po ba kung meron siyang confidential fund nung panahon na yon, ay nagkaroon siya ng information na merong assassination na magagawa sa kanya?
Likely, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Pangalawang tanong po. Palagay niyo po ba kung meron confidential fund si former Senator Angara na sa ngayon ay sekretary ng DepEd, maaari po bang napigil niya ang mga shooting incident sa mga paaralan?
I cannot speculate.
Wala pong speculation.
I
Sa tingin lang po niyo,
apologize,
kung
Your Honor,
meron
I cannot
siyang...
speculate.
Sabi niyo po kasi kanina, sumang-ayon po kayo, kung may confidential fund, maaring makapigil, makapagbigay ng kapayapaan, law and order. Sa palagay niyo po ba, kung meron siyang confidential, ano lang naman po yun? Yes or no? Kung hindi po kayo naniniwala, hindi no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, salamat po. Kayo po.
It can, Your Honor, if the purpose of the confidential fund is to conduct surveillance, Your Honor, on the threats.
So, kind of.
Yes.
Tama ba yung aking diction? Kind of. Salamat po. Salamat po. Sa isa po sa ating saksi. Naniniwala po ba kayo na hindi pa naman talaga natapos ang investigasyon ng COA dito patungkol sa sinasabing akusasyon sa ating Vice President?
Yes, sir. Nasa stage pa po, sir, ng submission of yung decision for the motion for reconsideration. So I would say that it's not yet final.
Hindi
sir.
po siya final. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you, Senator Judge Padilla. Senator Judge Lacson, you have 2 minutes, sir. You may proceed when you're ready. Thereafter, Senator Marcos, and then we're through.
Very quickly lang, Mr. Presiding Officer. Ano na po yung status ng security classification noong inyong PFP covering the PAPs, programs, activities, projects na socio-economic at saka good governance?
Sorry,
including ano yung present security classification? Has it been declassified or is it still classified information?
Sir, I would have no idea po, sir. First,
Teka muna, terminated na po ba yung PFP? Terminated na? Tapos na?
If in terms of the activities, sir, I would assume, sir, na tapos na po siya,
Therefore,
sir.
kung tapos na, declassified na.
As to the terminology, sir, unfortunately,
Declassified meaning hindi na ito classified information. You know, I'm trying to drive at this scenario, no? Kasi ang dami sa amin nagtataka talaga. Totoo ba talaga yung mga aliases? Totoo ba nakatanggap sila ng reward, ng informants money, para lang matapos na yung aming panghula? Baka pwedeng maipresenta all the documents relative to the PAPs, relative to the PFP, relative to the expected outcome, para lang makapag-desisyon kami. Kasi sa ngayon nanguhula kami, saan ba napunta yung pera? Possible po ba yun? I'm also addressing that to the presiding officer. Is it possible for the court to issue subpoena ducis tecum just to settle this issue once and for all, para makita natin saan ba talaga napunta yung pera, so we can have informed decision at the proper time. Ngayon hula kami ng hula eh. Alam niyo, Mr. Ortonio, no? Misuse sa akin yung misuse, maski masama yung connotation legally, na misuse mo pero hindi mo binulsa, probably pwedeng patawarin siguro ng mga kababayan natin, di ba? Naawa ka doon sa mga pulis, sa mga sundalo, na misuse mo kasi hindi intended doon sa item sa GAA. Pero tinulungan mo kasi marami nagkakasakit, naulanan, naarawan. Sa akin medyo maunawaan pa ng publiko. Although, I'm not saying na hindi violation ng law kasi may technical malversation. But in the eyes of the public, pagka na-misuse pero hindi naman binulsa, medyo subdued ng konti yung galit. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
To respond, as a general rule, the court should sit as a passive body, Senator Judge Lacson, and leave it up to the prosecution to subpoena documents they deem necessary to prove their case. However, the court is not without any power after both counsels have presented their respective evidences in chief to call a witness, recall a witness, call a witness that was not called by either or named by either party, and subpoena documents in connection with the subpoena ad testificandum ducis tecum may also be issued, citing as basis City of Cebu versus GACO, AMRTJ 82111, and People versus Valera, GR number 20-28-6. So at the appropriate time, Senator Lacson, the court can avail of that power.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, for the response. Kasi para hindi na tayo nanguhula lahat ito, 20 ilan tayo rito. Hindi natin alam kung talaga saan napunta yung pera. Of course, there's a presumption na nagamit na maayos. But still, there's that doubt. You cannot remove that because of the so many issues na lumabas dito sa aming trial. And we want to be satisfied. After all, we'll be deciding on the basis of evidence and kung anong tingin namin, kung ano yung tama o ano yung mali. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
We reserve that right. The court reserves that right, Senator Judge Lacson. Finally, Senator Judge Marcos for her interjection.
Yes, maraming salamat. At naintriga lang ako sa nasabi kanina, no? What's the documentary evidence of payment? Sa palagay ninyo, ano yung katibayan na nabayaran at hindi?
For the documentary evidence of payment po, we submitted the acknowledgement receipts.
Yung AR pa rin. In the context of rewards and incentives, what's the documentary evidence of payment?
Based on my understanding, ma'am, acknowledgement receipts.
AR din. Wala talagang resibo, walang voucher, walang invoice. Ganun po ba?
Ang understanding ko po, ma'am, it's the acknowledgement receipts, ma'am, can suffice, ma'am.
And COA did not require OVP to submit what was inside that sealed envelope. Nasabi nga ninyo kanina, yung AR lang ang binuksan nyo, hindi na tinignan yung sealed envelope. Kasi ba hindi required ng COA yun?
Ma'am, when we submitted the initial po na comment ng COA is that we submit documentary evidence of payment to include also either ARs or official receipts. We submitted po ARs as documentary evidence of payment, and in the notice of disallowance po, there was no concern anymore in terms of the acknowledgement receipts, ma'am.
So in as much as yung COA did no longer ask for other documentation aside from the AR and the other documents submitted, is that the reason kung bakit hindi na niyo binuksan yung sealed envelope?
Ma'am, at the time, ma'am, when I submitted the documents, ma'am, and it was sealed, ma'am, as the role of the liaison officer, ma'am, who will transmit documents to the Commission on Audit, there is no specific na provision, ma'am, that the liaison officer needs to open it. I just need to transmit the documents to the Commission on Audit.
Thank you very much. At yun nga ang gusto ko i-clarify. Hindi na kinailangan buksan yung sealed envelope. Dahil yun nga yung AR at yung mga dokumentong nabigay, yun na yung katibayan na nabayaran. Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Thank you,
Honor.
Senator Judge Marcos. Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo.
I know, Mr. Presiding Officer, we're in a hurry now, pero just a quick manifestation, Mr. Presiding
Yes,
Officer.
you may proceed,
Sir,
Senator Judge
may
Tulfo.
I once again encourage both counsels, the prosecution and the defense, to consider presenting the individual who appears to be the missing link in the testimonies we have heard so far. Ilang araw na po ito, Colonel La Chica, even Colonel La Chica, sa mga TV po kanina, kagabi, willing po siya mag-testify dito. Maging si Defense Secretary, sabi niya gano'n, pinaubayan na namin sa Senate, si Colonel La Chica. I understand, Mr. Presiding Officer, we cannot compel him to appear, but he has been repeatedly named by several witnesses, and it may be helpful to this court to hear directly from that individual so that gaping holes in the testimony may be clarified and the facts may be properly connected. I'm sure lahat po ng Senator judges would like to ask him, ano ba? Saan mo ba dinala? Totoo bang inutusan ka ni BP? O sarili mo lang yan, binulsa mo? I have a lot of questions, Mr. Presiding Officer. That's why I am praying that one day we will be able to talk to Colonel La Chica para matapos na ho ito. Iniwan ho natin parang hanging po yung question. Matatapos na po tayo dito sa hostile witness, babalik na tayo sa witnesses ng prosecutors. Hindi pa natin narinig si Colonel La Chica. Mr. Presiding Officer, yun lang po.
The manifestation is noted, but as earlier ruled by the presiding officer, we cannot compel either party to call a witness. However, after the presentation of the party's evidence in chief, the court may exercise its discretion to call a witness based on the Supreme Court ruling cited by the chair earlier. That time will come should Colonel La Chica not be called by either party. So ordered. Just a few questions, Mr. Antonio. To wind up, kayo po ang nagsagot o sumagot sa lahat ng AOM, notice of suspension at notice of disallowance. Tama po?
Yes, I'm one of the signatories po.
Wala po doon sa AOM o kahit anong notice of suspension at disallowance, yung issue tungkol sa mga alias sa acknowledgement receipt, na-raise po ba yan doon?
It was not raised in any of the observations from COA, sir.
So hindi nyo kinailangan sagutin yon?
We did not answer, sir.
Did not need to answer because there was no question posed.
Yes, Your Honor.
There was no issue also raised by COA with respect to spending it for 11 days. Correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Wala rin kayong kailangan sagutin kaugnay nun.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the notice of disallowance, for the 3 quarters of 2023, it was disallowed dahil base sa testimonya ni Gina Acosta, binigay niya yung pera kay Colonel La Chica. Tama po ba?
That's one of the observations po, Your Honor.
It's not an observation anymore, Mr. Antonio. It's a notice of disallowance.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
So, sa tingin ng COA, bawal, illegal, hindi sang-ayon sa JC 2015-1 yung pagbigay ni Gina Acosta kay La Chica.
Based on the notice of disallowance, Your Honor, it indicates na the transfer from one agency to another, sir.
Kayo po, alam niyo po ba yun na binigay ni Gina Acosta yung huling quarter ng 2022 at 3 quarter ng 2023 kay Colonel La Chica lahat?
At that time, sir, no, I did not, sir.
At the time na binigay niya o at the time na nangyari na?
At the time na nangyari lahat, sir, I would have no personal knowledge, sir.
Hindi, pero nung ginawa mo yung AOM, unang sagot sa AOM, alam mo na binigay ni Gina kay Lachica?
Yes, sir, because they were introduced as the special
So
officer.
October mo nang nalaman na binigay lahat ni Gina Lachica, October 2023, nung sinagot mo yung unang AOM para sa huling quarter ng 2022, doon mo palang nalaman na binigay lahat ni Gina kay Lachica yung pera.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, is Lachica an accountable officer based on the definition of the JC?
Based on the JC, sir, he is not an accountable officer, sir. It's the SDO.
And that is the reason why his signature does not appear in any of the documents submitted by the Vice President in relation to the AOM, NS, and Notice of Disallowance. Dahil hindi naman siya empleyado ng OVP, di ba?
Yes, sir. He's not an employee, sir. Although he's designated as the security officer.
Is that allowed, designating someone as a security officer who's not an employee of the office and being given that much money to disburse?
Sir, based on my understanding, sir, on the JC, when I read it, sir, there's no specific guideline, sir, on who to designate as security officer. But there is a provision po, sir, that the head of agency may designate a security officer to implement different programs and activities.
Now, you keep on mentioning that Lachica implemented and that Acosta disbursed. Ano pong definition nyo ng implement?
Implement, sir, would be to perform the different activities on the ground, sir.
Which entails what? How will he perform the different activities on the ground? In relation to confidential funds?
Possible, sir, to coordinate with the different informants or agents, sir. Yun po yung pwede kong mabigay na information, sir.
Mr. Ortonio, sa mga salitang perform at coordinate, saan po doon yung paggastos ng confidential fund? Perform, coordinate. Yun ang definition mo na implement.
Yes, sir.
Asan doon? Ba't binigay kay Colonel Lachica yung pera at ba't siya gumastos kung perform at coordinate lang pala? Did Colonel Lachica spend the money?
I would say so, sir, that being the implementer of the different activities, sir, he spent the money for the different confidential activities.
So Colonel Lachica disbursed the money for various confidential activities?
I would say, sir, na he implemented the different activities, sir.
Mr. Ortonio, nasa spent na tayo. Binago ko lang ng konting disburse, bumalik ka na naman sa implement eh. Again, spent, disbursed. It means the same thing. Ang gumastos na ng pera na binigay ni Gina, si Colonel Lachica o mga tauhan niya.
Sir, based on my understanding, sir, it's Miss Gina Acosta who disbursed the funds, sir. And then si Colonel Lachica po yung implement or conduct ng mga confidential activities.
Hindi
on the
nagbayad si Colonel Lachica?
Part of his duties as the implementer, sir, nagbayad siya doon sa mga...
So is it your theory that Gina disbursed to Lachica as an end user?
Yun po yung ko, sir. That's my understanding po, sir.
Kung end user si Lachica, bakit niya binawi yung acknowledgement receipt niya nung nagbigay na siya ng mga acknowledgement receipt para sa di umano binayaran niya? Hindi ba dapat tinago niya yun? Kasi nag-disburse si Gina, tinanggap ni Lachica. Kung siya ang end user, tama lang na may acknowledgement receipt siya, ba't niya binawi? Ba't hindi tinago sa file?
Sir, in terms of binawi po yung AR, sir,
Ni Lachica?
I do not know of that, sir, because...
That's what Gina said.
The AR, sir, were given to me by Miss Gina, and then that's what I submitted
Mr.
to the
Ortonio,
Commission on Audit.
The ARs of the various aliases na binanggit, yung kanina pa sinasabi, ng iba't ibang apelido, kasama yung apelido ko, yun yung sinubmit ni Colonel Lachica. Ayon kay Gina, nagbigay siya ng pera kay Colonel Lachica at bilang katibayan, nagbigay na acknowledgement receipt si Colonel Lachica. Pero nung nagbigay siya ng mga acknowledgement receipt at liquidation, binawi daw ni Colonel Latchika yung acknowledgement receipt. So wala kang kopya ng acknowledgement receipt ni Latchika?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. Ang pagkakaalam ko, sir, is that I got the box with acknowledgement receipt, sir, from the special disbursing officer. And
So
that's
you're
what
not aware of any acknowledgement receipt signed by Latchika?
No, sir.
So if Gina disbursed to him, ba't hindi mo hinanap yung acknowledgement receipt kay Latchika?
Sir, the request, sir, was for the DEPs for the implementation,
If your
sir.
theory is dinisburse kay Latchika, in-implement ni Latchika, hindi ba kailangan may papel yung dinisbursan na tinanggap niya yung pera?
Sir, I did not request for it anymore, sir.
That's the final question, sir. So this is your story. You placed in the PAP, or you know that what they placed in the PAP, Good Governance Program, Socioeconomic Delivery Program, pero gagastusin yung confidential fund para sa informants, para tiyakin na ligtas ang ikalawang Pangulo saan man siya magpunta sa bansa, kaugnay ng trabaho niya, at ginamit itong confidential fund para bumili ng impormasyon, pera binigay para ipambili ng pagkain, ng silya, ng computer, ng gamot, kapalit ay impormasyon para matiyak ang kaligtasan ng VP at napatunayang matagumpay yon dahil walang nangyaring masama sa ating Vice Presidente hanggang ngayon. Yan po yung buod summary ng paggamit ng confidential fund ng OVP base sa inyong presentasyon.
Sir, with due respect, sir, just
You can correct me, sir.
Just one correction lang po,
Yes,
sir. It's for the to ensure that the activities of the OVP will be implemented safely and that no untoward na mga mangyayari in the performance of walang mangyayari sa mga different activities ng OVP. That's what I
Walang
understand.
mangyayaring masama sa kanya at dun sa makikilahok. That's an accepted
For the office and the sir, for the people who will be, say for example, attending mga events, sir.
Kaya hindi lang kay VP, pati sa mga taong makikilahok dun sa event para ligtas silang lahat doon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yan po yung sinabi sa inyo ni Colonel Latchika na rason kung bakit siya namigay ng pera sa iba't ibang informant sa pamamagitan ng reward o pera pambili ng gamot, ng silya, ng computer, ng pagkain.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be all, Mr. Tonyo. Senator Judge Zubiri, to avail of the first round.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I was not going to ask any more questions. I won't be asking a question to the witness, more to address the court. Can we make, because this is a recurring theme, halos sa lahat ng mga testigo, ang sinasabi po nila at minsan mga tanong ng prosecution or defense and prosecution ay ito bang finding ng COA, hindi pa siya final. It is yet under my motion for reconsideration. Ika nga, binanggit nga kanina ng ating testigo. Can this court make representation with the COA? If possible, during the duration of this trial, so that we may be guided as judges. Can they make their finding already with finality? Who knows? They may say na wala namang nangyaring kalokohan. Itong article ay tapos na. Pag sinabi naman talaga nila ay masyadong glaring yung mga violations, then tayo bilang mga judges will also be clarified kung meron talagang misuse of funds. Kasi yung arbiter talaga nito is COA. Diba? Lahat ng misuse of funds ng government agencies, it is the COA that makes that determination. And then before it is taken up to another court, which is Sandigan Bayan, the Ombudsman. Pero sana po, Mr. Presiding Officer, this is an appeal to the COA. I know there is what you call the due process for the parties, but I think the filing for the motion for consideration was done a few months ago, or I think it was in 2000. The findings came out 2024 or 2025. Medyo matagal na. And if there was a motion to for reconsideration on the part of the Vice President, maybe it will be prudent that they already come up with a decision of finality, Mr. Presiding Officer, and copy furnish this impeachment court because it will be very important. Kasi ang sagot palagi ng testigo, may motion for consideration pa kami. Hindi pa final po yan, Your Honors. So, for the guidance of each and every one of us here, may we appeal to the Commission on Audit, I'm sure they're listening, can they already come out with finality on this issue so that we may be guided by the arbiter, the final arbiter when it comes to issues of misuse of funds. Yun lang po, Mr. Presiding
By way of
Officer.
reply, Senator Judge Zubiri, the Commission on Audit is an independent constitutional commission, and I doubt if we would be well within our rights to compel them, similar to a mandamus, to act one way or the other on this matter. Secondly,
That's why it is a request, Mr.
I
Presiding
think the
Officer.
period
Yes.
to file an appeal under 45 or under 65 by certiorari of the ruling of the COA Commission and Bank has not yet lapsed, and the period to file a reconsideration has not yet lapsed too. It is yet to be, the respondent I think has until October to file a motion for reconsideration. So it's not yet in the hands of the Commission at this point in time. But having said that, thirdly,
Yes, Mr. President.
there are cases decided by the Supreme Court to the effect that a final determination of COA is not necessary for a case to be heard and tried. So this does not preclude the impeachment court, if at all, from deciding based on available evidence in regard to the articles of impeachment pending before us.
Pero Mr. Presiding Officer, napakabigat na mga akusasyon na binabanggit natin dito na yung araw na ito sa Vice Presidente. Napakabigat. Does not that weigh on to the Commission, although it's an independent body, that prudence dictates that they must act with of course, following the what you call due process. Kung October, sinasabi nga natin, di nga ito matatapos ng December. So it is well within the period. I myself, as one of the judges of this impeachment court, want to see the final observation report or findings of the Commission on Audit. That is an appeal to them. As I said, we cannot compel them. They are a independent constitutional branch of government. But for example, budget season starts next week. They will come. Maybe we can ask that question to them. How long will it take before this finding comes out? Because we want to know. I cannot make that. It's very difficult sometimes to make a decision without the final decision made by the Commission on Audit. I think it would be very important, Your Honor. Just putting that on the record. Thank you.
The manifestation of Senator Judge Zubiri is noted. Proceeding now to some administrative matters. The Honorable Luistro earlier asked about the presence of Colonel Buransing. We furnished parties with a copy of his letter dated August 25, stating that he cannot make it given that he needed to coordinate with his superiors before being able to leave his post as prescribed by the standard operating procedures in the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and requests that he instead be called on September 1. I am constrained to grant that, Honorable Luistro, Attorney Sheila, given the exigencies of his position, that he is the commanding officer of Task Force Zamboanga and cannot leave simply because he received the subpoena and would need certain preparations before he can leave his post. Let the corresponding subpoena, if it has not yet been issued, be issued for Colonel Buransing, the second on September 1. Number 2, insofar as Major General Bajao retired is concerned, the address given was not received by the Armed Forces of the Philippines. He is retired. So may I instruct the prosecution to kindly coordinate with either the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office, PIVAO, or the AFP Pension and Gratuity Management Center to get an address. I'm sure he's receiving his pension from somewhere, and that would be a good place to look. The court cannot issue a subpoena properly to Major General Bajao without an address, counsel. Bahaw. In regard to the third, sitting third?
Panopio, Your Honor.
Yes, in regard to Colonel Panopio, he was subpoenaed to appear on September 1, thinking that Colonel Buransing would be here today. Therefore, there are no other witnesses to be presented by the prosecution today. So, next week we are expecting Colonel Buransing, Colonel Panopio, and hopefully we would be able to find Major General Bahaw, if you will still persist in those three witnesses, Honorable Luistro.
Your Honor, we respectfully inform the Honorable Impeachment Court that we are now dropping the presentation of Colonel Bahaw. Nevertheless, we maintain
Major General.
Major General Bahaw, Your Honor. We maintain the position to present both Colonel Buransing and Colonel Panopio, to whom the subpoenas have been ordered to be issued for September 1, 2026, Your Honor. But in addition to that, Your Honor, and in order to maximize the schedule that is given to us by the
I was
Honorable
about to ask
Impeachment
that.
Court, for September 2, that is next Wednesday, Your Honor, we would like to respectfully move for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Wesley T. Powa, if the same should be necessary, as well as to Ms. Marisa B. Grande of the Philippine Statistics Authority, Your Honor. If given opportunity next week, these two shall likewise be presented on September 2, Wednesday, Your Honor.
Subject to the colatilia that should the other witness not appear, given that Attorney Powa is here and more than willing to testify as intimated earlier, then we jump to Attorney Powa. Should the other earlier two witnesses fail to appear on September 1, without need of issuing a subpoena to Attorney Powa. He is so informed in open court.
We submit to that, Your Honor.
So ordered. Other matters, yesterday afternoon, the prosecution filed a motion to set a conference for the marking of additional exhibits, particularly documents received from the Philippine Statistics Authority. The prosecution seeks to set the conference at 4 p.m. today. This is quite a simple motion, Attorney Sheila. The motion is granted. The clerk of court is directed to conduct the marking of additional exhibits at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Rector Room, and counsels are directed to send representatives to attend the conference. The presiding officer is also in receipt of a request from the respondent to be furnished with copies of the prosecution's pre-marked exhibits for Article 1, which counsel for respondent is likewise marked with the specifics. These being common exhibits, the request is hereby granted. The clerk of court is directed to furnish counsel for the respondent with copies of the requested pre-marked exhibits, with the understanding that the panel of prosecutors will be accorded the same courtesy should a similar request on the respondent's marked documents be made in the future. So ordered.
Your Honor,
Yes, Attorney Sheila?
given that opportunity given to the prosecution to mark additional documents, I would like to avail of the same opportunity. And if the situation calls for it, we will ask for an additional setting for conference to mark additional documents in preparation for our presentation, so that in the interest of time, we can take advantage of these additional settings ordered by the court.
Let it so be granted without
Thank you,
need
Your
of
Honor.
an order being issued by the court, subject to the availability of the parties and the clerk of court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So ordered. Finally, we are in receipt of a prosecution's request for supplemental subpoena for other banks and financial institutions. I presume, Attorney Sheila, you got a copy of the subpoena?
We did, Your Honor.
The chair will simply adopt and apply its ruling last July 20, 2026 concerning the subpoena issued to certain banking institutions involving the same subject matter, and the same limitations will apply. Accordingly, the request for subpoena directed to the concerned banking institutions, I won't specify anymore because both parties have a copy, and financial institutions covering the respondent, her spouse, Attorney Manasseh Carpio, as well as 20 entities allowed by this court in which the spouses hold an interest is hereby granted. It is clear that the subpoena does not include foreign currency, is limited only to peso-denominated accounts and not to foreign currency deposits, as these are excluded without the written consent of the depositor. The clerk of court is directed to cause the issuance and service of the subpoenas to the entities requested to so submit, who shall produce the required documents before the clerk of court in 7 calendar days from today, or on September 2, Wednesday, next week, 2026. So ordered.
Your Honor,
Yes, Attorney Sheila.
given the position that we had articulated on this matter of the subpoena with respect to bank records and other materials subject of that subpoena, we will just want to place it on record that we will be, or we are reserving our right to comment and to put our appropriate objections at the proper time. Thank you.
On the record, Attorney
On the
Sheila.
record, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, please.
And or seek further remedies as is available to you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Outside of this court. Yes, Honorable Listro.
We would like to respectfully manifest to the Honorable Impeachment Court that almost simultaneously to the reading of the ruling of the Honorable Impeachment Court on the issue of sub judice rule, the respondent Vice President made a public statement
I know where you're leading at, Counsel. Naunahan mo lang ako. I thought you were going to take up another matter, so let me cut you short. Yes. While the presiding officer was delivering its ruling on the applicability, limitation, and who is covered by Rule 18, a statement was issued by the impeached official, the respondent, the Vice President, which clearly is covered by what the ruling earlier given by the presiding officer issued. So, given that it was done while the ruling was being issued, prospectivity would still apply. However, the presiding officer would like to remind, through the lead counsel for the respondent, her client, to kindly observe the ruling of the presiding officer as well as the rules of the impeachment court, specifically Article or Rule 18 on the subject matter in regard to making comments on the merits of the case, because henceforth, again, given the prospectivity of the ruling, the necessary actions will be taken against her not only by the court, but also, given that she's a lawyer, via what the presiding officer earlier mentioned in relation to CIPRA and in relation to the Office of the Bar Confident. Kindly inform her, Attorney Sheila.
We take note of that reminder, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney
So
Sheila.
just it will form part of the record, Your Honor. May I be allowed to read that portion of the statement of the
think
respondent
this is
Vice
unnecessary, Your
President?
Honor.
No need. Again, I find it unacceptable, and it will be commenting on the merits, and no need to read it in the records. The court can take, in fact, judicial notice of that, should it so desire. Senator Judge Aquino.
Mr. President, for the benefit of everyone, may I be clarified again, what are the possible penalties for breaking or not following your decision po earlier? Kapag Senator Judge, it goes to the Committee on Ethics. Tama po, no?
Yes.
Yes. Kapag mga miyembro po ng councils, ano po yung mga posibleng penalty? Kapag respondent or complainant, ano po yung mga posibleng penalty? Kapag ibang tao po, kasama po ba sila sa saklaw ng inyong ruling kanina?
We will issue the corresponding guidelines, Senator Judge Bam, for the information of Senator Judges, so that it will be in a clear table form. But to answer your question, reprimand and admonition, followed by a fine for the second offense, and fine subsequently thereafter without prejudice to referring the matter should it violate their obligations as a member of, as an officer of the court, without prejudice to referring the matter to the Supreme Court, the IBP, and or the Office of the Bar Confident. if any violation may have been committed by them. But we will issue the guidelines in relation to that. Yes, Honorable Luistro, anything else?
We have no other manifestation, Your Honor.
Attorney Sheila?
We're good, Your Honor.
We promise to provide what do you call it? A platform. Should it be so necessary?
Yes, Your
May
Honor.
we request, Your Honor, that the witness, Mr. Ortonio, be excused?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Ortonio. I thought the administrative matters would not take this long. Yes, Mr. Ortonio, you are excused. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panahon, sa inyong kooperasyon at sa pagsagot po sa katanungan ng Senator Judges at ng magkabilang partido. Thank you for your time, sir. You are excused,
Thank you
sir.
very much, Your Honor. Thank you.
The trial is adjourned until 10 a.m. Still 10 a.m. on Tuesday, given that Monday is a holiday, September 1, 2026.
Thank you.
Session will be at 3:30 according to the Senate President.
Mga kabombo, mga ka-Star Nation, yan ang ika-19 na araw ng impeachment trial sa kaso ni Vice President Sara Duterte, kaugnay ho ng 4 na articles of impeachment na hinihimay dyan sa mataas na kapulungan ng Kongreso na tumatayo bilang impeachment court. At sa paglalagom ng atin pong coverage ngayong araw sa impeachment trial, kunin natin ang linya ni Bombo Angelo Ganan.
Bombo Dennis, tapos na nga itong day 19 ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte at natapos na rin ang testigong si Office of the Vice President Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortonio. Pero bago yan, Bombo Dennis, ay balikan muna natin ang mga naging highlights nitong pagdinig ngayong hapon, kung saan tila nagisa na naman itong si Ortonio sa pagtatanong ng mga senator judge. Inunahan agad yan, Bombo Dennis, ni Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian, kung saan question ng leader ng Senado kung paano isinagawa ang pagbibigay nitong mga food at medical supplies sa mga informant at kung literal ba talaga itong gamot at pagkain ang ipinamahagi dito. Ayon kay Ortonio, ipinaliwanag sa kanya nila chika na cash ang ibinigay sa mga informant at ito na mismo ang bibili dito sa mga food at medical supplies. Question din kung tinanong man lang ba niya sila chika patungkol sa paggamit ng mga aliases at sinabi ni Ortonio na hindi niya nakita ang mga accomplishment reports dahil sealed na ang mga ito na ipinasa sa kanya. Ito, Bombo Dennis, ang sinusugan ni Senator Judge Francis Kiko Pangilinan. Question na dito si Ortonio kung bakit hindi man lang nagtangka itong si Ortonio na buksan itong mga sealed na documents, Bombo Dennis, pagkatapos na maglabas ng audit observation memorandum nitong COA patungkol nga sa paggasta nitong confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President. Ngayong hinihingan sila ng mga dokumento para patunayan itong mga pinaggamitan ng confidential funds, Bombo Dennis. Tugon dito ni Ortonio, Bombo Dennis, nakasaad sa joint memorandum circular ng COA na may mga designated o may mga specific person lang na maaaring magbukas ng sealed na documents na yon. Pero hindi dito na kontento si Senator Judge Kiko Pangilinan, Bombo Dennis, at iginiit niya na pwede naman umanong humingi ng clearance itong si Ortonio para mabuksan itong mga sealed documents nang sa gayon ay makapag-reply sila ng maayos sa AOM nitong COA. Ngunit mas pinili niya nitong opisyal ng OVP na hindi gawin ang paghingi ng clearance at buksan itong mga sealed documents. Dito na iginiit at binigyan diin ni Senator Judge Panghilinan na sana naman ay ginawa ni Ortonio ng maayos ang kanyang trabaho bilang Assistant Chief of Staff ng Office of the Vice President sapagkat itong ginamit na pera sa confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President ay pondo ng bayan. Lumabas din, Bombo Dennis, sa pagtatanong ni Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian na may mga tauhan itong sila chika sa ground na namamahagi ng mga bayad o rewards. Ngayon man, hindi na umano ito question ni Ortonio kung saan nakuha itong mga tauhan at kung paano nakuha din itong mga informant. Hindi na rin umano niya question ang mga dokumentong isinumitin nila chika dahil nagtiwala siya rito. Matapos ito, nagtiwala siya na ginampanan nito ng maayos ang kanyang trabaho, lalo't pat si Vice President Sara Duterte mismo ang nagtalaga rito. Sa pagtatanong naman, Bombo Dennis, ni Senator Risa Hontiveros, question niya kung si Vice President Sara Duterte ba ang pangunahing responsable sa lahat ng usapin kaugnay dito sa confidential funds. Sinang-ayunan nito ni Ortonio at sinabing hands-on naman umano ang Vice Presidente sa mga nangyayari sa Office of the Vice President. Aniya, nakilala niya itong si Duterte mula pa noong alkalde ito ng Davao City at may tiwala at kumpiyansa umano ang Vice Presidente sa kanya sa paggawa ng kanyang trabaho. Dito question din ni Senator Risa Hontiveros Bombo Dennis ang pagbigay ni Acosta ng pera dito kay Colonel Raymond Lachica, kung ito ba ay alabag sa JMC. At ang sabi dito ni Ortonio, para sa kanya, ang kanyang pagkakaintindi, pinapayagan ng JMC ang pagpapatupad ng confidential operation sa pamamagitan ng security officer na itinalaga ng Vice Presidente, kaya naniniwala siyang compliant itong ginawa ni Acosta na pagbibigay ng pera kay Lachica. Ngunit iginit dito ni Hontiveros na si Acosta ang accountable officer kaya hindi dapat na ilabas itong pera kay Lachica. Samantala, Bombo Dennis, medyo nagkaroon naman ng mga mabibigat na salita sa pagtatanong nitong si Senator Judge Panfilo Ping Lacson, sapagkat bago ito nagtanong, ipinunto muna at ipinakita muna nitong si Lacson na pareho ang naging regular at confidential program ng Office of the Vice President sa taong 2022 at 2023. Ito Bombo Dennis ay ang pinangalanan nilang Good Governance Program at Socio-Economic Program kung saan parehong nagkaroon ng pondo itong programa sa regular at confidential funds. At dito na pinuna ni Senator Judge Lacson ang mga pareho na particulars or specific activities na nakalagay sa parehong programa. At sinabi ni Lacson na bakit hindi man lang daw binago o inedit o iniba nitong Office of the Vice President itong kanilang mga isinulat dito nga sa regular na program ng opisina ng OVP at sa confidential naman. Dahil dito, quote-unquote, Bombo Dennis, tinawag ni Senator Judge Lacson na stupid yung ginawa nitong Office of the Vice President. Wala namang naging direktang kasagutan dito si Ortonio Bombo Dennis. Muli namang nag-isa ulit itong si Ortonio Bombo Dennis sa pagtatanong ni Senator Judge Rafi Tulfo kung saan question ito kung bakit hindi nagtaka itong si Ortonio sa laki ng halaga na ginastos para sa gamot na ipinambayad sa mga informant. Ang kay Ortonio, hindi na umano niya ito question dahil nagtiwala siya kay Lachica at hindi naman siya ang nagpatupad ng mga operasyon. Ipinunto ni Tulfo na maaaring humingi na lamang umano ng libreng gamot itong OVP sa Department of Health dahil nagbibigay naman daw ang ahensya ng mga libreng gamot upang nakatipid sana itong OVP at hindi na nagamit itong confidential fund. Kung gayoy ipinambabayad lang naman umano nito ay gamot doon sa mga informant. Ang kay Ortonio, hindi niya ito masasagot ng direkta dahil hindi naman siya nagpatupad ng operasyon. Dahil dyan, Bombo Dennis, doon na iginiit nitong si Senator Rafi Tulfo na sayang umano ang pagiging matalino nitong si Ortonio sapagkat hindi man lang ito nag-question kay Lachica na maaari niya naman sanang gawin at nagbulag-bulagan aniya ito sa kanyang trabaho at quote-unquote, Bombo Dennis, tinawag niya na nagtatanga-tangahan itong si Ortonio Bombo Dennis. At sa katanungan naman ng ni Senator Amy Marcos Bombo Dennis, katakataka naman ang naging tanong nitong si Senator Amy Marcos sapagkat naging mahinahon lamang siya at ang naging katanungan niya lamang dito kay Ortonio Bombo Dennis ay sumaklaw lamang sa kung nakalagay ba sa mga AOM Bombo Dennis na tinanong niya pala Bombo Dennis kung bakit pabago-bago ang naging paliwanag ng OVP tungkol sa paggamit ng confidential funds sa physical and financial funds at sa certification. Tugon dito ni Ortonio, hindi niya ito may paliwanag dahil hindi umano siya kasama sa pagbuo ng physical and financial fund at wala rin siyang naging komento nang isinumite ito sa DBM. At dahil sabi naman ni Senator Amy Marcos, Assistant Chief of Staff itong si Ortonio. Kaya't meron siyang kapangyarihan na sana ay matignan o masilip itong mga dokumento na ipinasa sa Department of Budget and Management. Pero ayon kay Ortonio, sinabi niyang hindi niya Hindi naman daw question itong mga paliwanag na ito sa Audit of Observation Memorandum ng COA, kaya't hindi niya na ito pa nabigyan pa ng pansin, Bombo Dennis.
Okay.
Samantalang kapansin-pansin Bombo Dennis ang pagtatanong nitong si Senator Robin Padilla, no, sapagkat question niya itong mga aliases na paggamit ng o binigyan din niya na itong mga paggamit ng aliases ay kailangan sa confidential funds, at ikinekta niya pa ito, Bombo Dennis, sa mga nakaraan na ginagamit umano ito ng ating mga national heroes, at sinabi niya na importante umano ito. Sa kabuuan, Bombo Dennis, sa pagtatanong ni presiding officer kay Ortonio, Bombo Dennis, lumabas dito na na-disallow ang confidential funds ni Vice President Sara Duterte dahil ipinagkatiwala ni Acosta kay La Chica ang pera ng confidential funds, at sa naging buod nagamit ang confidential funds at ibinigay ito sa informant upang masiguro ang kaligtasan ng Vice President at ang mga kasama nito sa kanyang mga aktibidad. Bombo Dennis.
Sige. With that, maraming salamat, Bombo Angelo.
Mula dito sa Senado ng Pilipinas, ako si Bombo Angelo Aganan, and this is Bombo Radio Philippines, the #1 radio network in the country. Your trusted source of news and information. Basta Radio, Bombo.
Mga kabombo, mga Kastar Nation, yan na rin ang kalipunan ng ating mga balita at mga updates sa ating special coverage. At kanina, yung ating kabuuan ng Bombo Network News, ang back-to-back winners sa Catholic Mass Media Awards bilang Best News Program. Mapapanood naman mamaya, mga kabombo at mga Kastar Nation, ang ating susunod na Bombo Network News alas 6 ng gabi hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Dito pa rin sa inyong paborito ho na sinusubay-bayan, Bombo Radio Philippines. Mula rito sa Bombo News Center, Makati, this is Bombo Radio Philippines, the #1 radio network in the country, your trusted source of news and information. Basta Radio, Bombo!